Okay, so real talk. Making friends as an adult, it feels impossible sometimes. Like, why is it so hard? Like everyone else just seems to have their friend group, and I'm just, well, here.
I think you're bringing up something that so many people struggle with. I mean, it's like, is there even like an instruction manual for this? And there are real reasons why it's so tough.
Okay, well, then let's hear them. Like, what's different now from when we were kids, back in the good old days?
Well, think about it. When you're a kid, you're basically surrounded by potential friends. You're in school, you're doing activities, you're just like naturally exposed to tons of people your own age. And then you become an adult, and suddenly that built in social life vanishes.
Yeah, I miss recess.
Yeah.
It really was like friendship speed dating, wasn't it?
Totally. But now we're in charge of creating those opportunities. And a lot of us, I think, just don't even know where to begin.
I hear you. So, okay, it's not just me then. There are legit reasons it's so hard to make friends as an adult. What are some of the biggest hurdles?
One of the first things is just visibility. If you're not showing up, if you're always working or at home, how can you expect to make friends?
Okay, so my weekend routine of takeout and Netflix. Not exactly a recipe for friendship.
Well, not if you're doing it solo, no. You've got to put yourself out there, right? If
Yeah,
no one knows you exist, how are they going to be your friend?
true. Visibility is key. What else? What other enemies are we fighting here?
I think busyness is a big one. Everyone's so busy all the time. And I get it, we're all juggling a lot. But sometimes we use busyness as a shield to avoid putting ourselves out there. Like deep down, maybe we're a little scared.
Wait, so are you suggesting I need to, like, schedule making friends on my to-do list?
It's not about scheduling it necessarily. It's more about being honest with yourself. Are you really too busy, or are you just avoiding making friendships a priority?
I mean, I guess I could see that. I think there's this fear that if I actually try, it might not work out.
Fear is huge, and it's completely normal. Fear of rejection, fear of awkwardness. Putting yourself out there means being vulnerable, and that can be scary.
You're telling me I've skipped out on so many events because I couldn't deal with the thought of awkward small talk?
Yeah.
I mean, I just freeze up.
Yeah, I get it. But if we let fear win, we're going to miss out on so much. It's about pushing past that discomfort. Because on the other side is connection.
So it's about being okay with the possibility of it being awkward, huh?
Exactly. And honestly, sometimes those awkward moments, they lead to the best connections.
Okay, so visibility, busyness, fear. What else? I feel like there's more.
Well, think about our comfort zones. Those things we do day in and day out. That can sometimes work against us.
Really? I thought routines were good. All the productivity people are all about routines.
Oh, routines are great. But when it comes to friendships, sometimes we can get, like, stuck in a rut. So comfortable doing things alone that we don't even think about changing things up.
Hmm. So if I'm trying to make friends, I should shake up my routine a little bit. Maybe try something new.
That's the idea. Put yourself in new situations, try new things. The more you expand your world, the more likely you are to meet people who share your interests.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about, like, breaking into those already established friend groups? That feels intimidating.
Yeah. It can feel like you're back in high school all over again, like
Yeah.
trying to find a place at the cool kids table. And it can feel impossible to break into those dynamics.
So are we destined to be friendless forever? Because that's kind of bleak.
Absolutely not. There are ways to overcome these things. We're going to dive into all of that next.
All right, you've convinced me. I'm ready to, like, ditch the loneliness and actually make some friends. But where do I even begin? It all just feels so overwhelming.
It's easy to feel that way. Trust me, I get it. But we actually have way more power than we think. The first step is understanding that this isn't something that happens overnight. You have to show up consistently, not just like pop in here and there.
So it's not about, like, forcing myself to go to every social event or trying to be friends with everyone I meet.
Exactly. It's more about like finding your people, the things you enjoy, the places where you feel comfortable. Maybe it's a pottery class, volunteering, a book club, whatever. Find something you genuinely love and commit to it. It's about shared experiences, building trust, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Consistency is key. What else helps?
Take initiative. You can't just wait for friendships to fall into your lap. You got to be willing to make the first move.
Wait, you mean like I should be the one organizing things? What if people think I'm, like, weird or desperate?
I think most people are just as nervous about putting themselves out there as you are. When you take initiative, you're taking the pressure off everyone else. It shows confidence, and it makes it easier for people to say yes.
Hmm. Okay, I see that. But what about rejection? Like, what happens when I put myself out there and it doesn't work out?
Rejection is part of it. It's going to happen. We've all been there.
Huh.
but you can't let the fear of it stop you from trying.
It's like, I need to build up some kind of emotional resilience.
Right, exactly. And honestly, sometimes even the awkward moments can be good.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of this time. I had just moved to a new city,
Uh,
right? And I was determined to make friends. So I joined this hiking group, all excited to, explore the outdoors, meet new people. Well, I showed up for my first hike in dress shoes.
You're kidding! Dress
I'm
shoes.
dead serious. Like the kind you'd wear with a suit. I didn't even realize until I was already there, surrounded by people in hiking boots. I wanted to die.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. But you know what? I just decided to own it. I hiked the whole trail in those shoes, making jokes about it the whole time. And people remembered me. Some of them actually ended up becoming good friends.
That's such a good example of how even those cringy moments can turn into something positive.
It was definitely a lesson learned.
Yeah.
Sometimes awkwardness is just part of the process.
Totally. And speaking of processes, here's another practical tip that can really help. Schedule time for socializing. Like literally put it on your calendar.
No way, really. Like, I should treat it like a dentist appointment.
Exactly. A coffee date, a game night, whatever. If it's not on your schedule, it's easy to let it slip away.
That's actually really smart. I'm all about my calendar, so I could definitely see that working.
And one more thing, be patient. Friendships don't happen overnight. It takes time to build those connections.
Oh, I needed to hear that. I can be so impatient sometimes, especially when it comes to stuff like this. So trust the process. And don't get discouraged if I don't have a whole squad by next week.
Exactly. And remember, it's about quality, not quantity. Focus on building a few really great connections. Those are the ones that will make all the difference.
So we've talked about all the reasons it's hard to make friends as an adult. And we've gotten some really good tips, I think. But, like, why bother? Why put ourselves through all this? It can be, like, kind of scary and tiring, to be honest.
That's a great question. And I think the answer is pretty simple. We need connection. It's kind of like built into us, we're wired for it. And loneliness, it's not just a feeling, it can actually impact our health, both mentally and physically.
It's more than just, like, wanting someone to go to brunch with. It's deeper than that.
Way deeper. It's about having people who get you, who you can be yourself around, who you can laugh with, cry with, share life with. That feeling of belonging is so important.
It's easy to lose sight of that sometimes, especially now when everyone's so busy and connected online.
Totally. We get so caught up in comparing ourselves to everyone on social media that we forget about the real connections right in front of us.
So, like, what's the one thing our listeners can do right now to start building those connections?
Think about everything we've talked about today, and then just pick one small thing you can do this week. Maybe it's signing up for that dance class you've been thinking about, or texting that coworker you always chat with. Just one little step to put yourself out there.
And remember, it's okay to be nervous or scared. We all feel that way. Just be kind to yourself and don't give up.
The discomfort, it's temporary. But the rewards, those can last a lifetime. You deserve to have those connections.
That's a really good point. So everyone listening, go out there, embrace the awkward, and find your people. You got this. And hey, maybe we'll see you at that dance class. Just kidding.
I'm not...